Morning, everybody. This is Martin John. I am here to present Tao of the Day. It's Friday, so get your Tao in while you can, because I do not show up on the weekends. It's just a thing. It's good to have boundaries. It's good to have things when we can just say, you know what, I'm just not doing that today. And so, like whether or not it's a 9 to 5 or Monday through Friday thing, it's good to have those boundaries, especially when, I could come on here every day and it could be a thing where it's just like I feel obligated to do it. But we don't want that. We don't want to have things that we're obligated to do. We just want to do things that we feel good about doing. And, for the moment, like usually I like to do these at the top of the hour. Here we are at the bottom of the hour. What the hell? Everything's just thrown into a whirlwind here. But no, like I'm here to present the Tao Te Ching. If you don't know about the Tao Te Ching, it's an ancient text written about 600 BCE. It consists of 81 chapters, and I ask you to step up and pick a number between 1 and 81. These chapters should be called verses or sections or whatever. I don't know. Like, it's really hard to just limit what the Tao is to some sort of explanation. It's just ideas that were written a long, long time ago. And the reason that the Tao is so important to me at this moment in time is because I believe we are moving into a state of um, what do I want to call it? It's a state of, where we're moving towards a more feminine state. We're moving towards a state where it's more yielding, where we understand, where we're more at peace, where we're not in fear, where it's not so dense. And whether that's consciousness or um, whether we look at that as consciousness, or whether we look at that as intelligence, whatever we look at it as, I'm looking at us moving into a state of being freer, being more open to the world around us and to our, our literal oneness, our connection. I think, a lot of people can run around and say, yeah, I know we're all one, but me. Right? I know, like, there is a spirit that controls everything. I know there's a God, and he is connected to all of us and all of that thing, but me. And I think that is what we talk about when we really kind of talk about getting stuck in the mind and in the body. When you want your body to last, and when you want this human experience to continue to last and to be something, because it's nothing. It's really mostly an illusion. It's very dense, and we have a lot to learn. And so let's just get on with the learning so that we can get off this planet and move on to something more interesting, more fun. Because this planet with its gravity and all that kind of stuff, it's like it's hard on the body. And so the body's got to go. I think a lot of people get so stuck in wanting the body to last that they miss the point of living. They like, no, the point of living is to die. You're gonna die, and that's gonna contribute. That death is gonna contribute. That's gonna continue contributing. And I think when the Tao was written, right, the Tao was written in a time when we're coming out of developing relationship and moving into developing logic. And here it is, we and our superior brain power have utilized logic to destroy everything, to destroy every relationship we've ever had, right? Our relationship with the earth, our relationship with food, right? Our relationship with food now is like financial. Right? It's like, well, how much can you afford to eat, right? And what can you afford to eat? It's interesting how there was a time when the poor would be thin, right? And now we're seeing a time where it's like the poor are actually fat. And the reason that is because they're getting all of this garbage food for really cheap, high calories and low cost. And it's so unhealthy. And and really, it's still like healthy food is still inexpensive if you buy healthy food. And I'm not talking about like, I mean, maybe you can look at grass fed and all that kind of stuff. That's going to get more expensive. But like just standard food, even conventionally grown greens and conventionally grown food it can still be fairly inexpensive. But it's not. It's not on the forefront of the minds of people because of logic. And what I mean by that is like through marketing and advertising and stuff, all of that logic of making more. And it's, yes, we're all one, but me. Right? Like that initial conversation that I started having here, where it's just like, yes, we all know that we're all one, we're all connected, but me. Right? But what about me? But I want to be safe, but I want all these things, and like that's desirous, and that's greed, and that's what the Tao really looks at. The Tao is saying, don't lose sight of the fact that we're all one. Don't lose sight of the fact that you are safe. You were born safe. You are perfect as you are. Don't lose sight of that. If you lose sight of that, these are the things that you want to look out for. These are the, like, when people want to express, like the first, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, I was talking about the first verse of the Tao, which states, if it's expressed in words, it's not Tao. No matter what I say, I can only point in the direction of Tao. I cannot get you to see it. I cannot get you to understand it. I cannot see it. Right? I cannot understand it. It is a faith that exists that I can just be there. It is within me and I can experience it. But if I went to grasp it, if I went to explain it, if I went to try and preserve it in any way, well, then I'm just getting lost. I would just be getting lost um, in the attempt to do that. And that gets really tiresome. So when we look at Tao, when we look at what this is as a text, we're looking at like this. We're looking at something that was written in the transition from relationship to logic. And here we are, we've taken logic to this extreme, and we are starting to move out of logic. And we can see people moving out of logic because of the great resignation, because of, just people are taking more and more strides in the direction of knowing that we're all one and we're safe and we're fine and we're good. We know that. So as we start to see that, actually get strides, one of the dichotomies in all of this is that we start to fall into this idea that, yes, I know we're all one, but me. And so when individuals start to find, oh, there's healing here and I get to get healed and stuff now, but me. This is when like the healing world starts to just become more logic. It's like, yes, and I am going to prey on your fears so that you can purchase more products and we can be in the space. And there's nothing wrong with money, and there's nothing wrong with profit, and there's nothing wrong with any of these things. But how a lot of people go about doing this in terms of like preying on you, like they are perfectly within their right to prey on you. Right? Why shouldn't they prey on you? Like all marketing and advertising is just, what about me? Now, if you are connected to Tao, you won't be fooled by the silliness of their, trying to prey on you. It's kind of like someone like behind a wall and they're sneaking out, and like like the 2-year-old is gonna try and jump out and scare you when you walk down the hall, right? That's gonna happen, and it's cute and stuff. Now you can either play along with the 2-year-old, or you can just show the 2-year-old that, no, I'm not gonna play along. I don't want to play along with you anymore. And the Tao is here to help you not play along. Yeah, it's fun to play along with a 2-year-old, but when the 2-year-old is, you know, Facebook, you, and it's taking your money rather than and time and attention and your ability to be yourself, and when it's taking all of that from you, like, you don't want to play along. You can play along with the 2-year-old and be like, "Oh, you scared me," and da 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 da, you know? But if you allow Facebook or Russia or the news or anybody else to scare you into thinking that you are weak or to thinking that you are in danger, is that worth it? It's like you don't want to play along with that. And the Tao is here to help us not play along anymore. The Tao is here to help us realize that we are one. And even though we know that, we don't have to go back to the desirous, but me. We don't have to do that. We can stay here and we can stay centered and we can be who we are completely. And so, if you have a number between 1 and 81, I would love to talk with you about the Tao. I've been writing my own version of the Tao Te Ching recently, and I don't know. Did I finish 62 or did I just? I want to see if I finish 62, because if I did finish 62, I'll go ahead and read Stephen Mitchell's 63. If I didn't finish 62, yeah, I did finish 62. So for those who may have heard me read 62 the other day, I'll read you my version. Tao benefits all things, a treasure for those who know, an opportunity for those who don't. To witness one act or speak to gain position. No, they are under the influence of manifestation. Be like Tao and do not abandon them, for knowing Tao is learning by example. Therefore, when a new leader takes office, don't offer words, gifts, or actions. Offer instead to teach them Tao. Why is Tao so universally loved? Because if you acknowledge it or not, Tao is your treasure, always in harmony, every mistake forgiven. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about this a little bit because it's such a it's kind of magically, I don't know, magically, but nothing's magic, right? We're all connected, it's all good. It connects with what I was talking about, like, right, being a fool to getting fooled by marketing or advertising or other things like that, right? Tao benefits all things. A treasure for those who know, an opportunity for those who don't. And if you don't know Tao, if you don't know anything about Tao, if you're not connected with Tao, there's always an opportunity for you to know Tao, because Tao is within you at all times. You are one with all things. So if you're someone that half believes, half doesn't believe, and is just kind of like, yes, Tao is connected to all things. I am connected to all things. This is perfect, but me. So if that is your state, there's still always an opportunity for you to step further into your Tao and to understand that, yeah, this is all a treasure for you. It's all a treasure. Every moment is a treasure. Every feeling is a treasure. Everything is here for you. To witness one act or speak to gain position. That means if you see somebody speaking to gain position, if you see someone trying to say, "Hey, I'm great. Hey, look at me. Hey, give me your money. Hey, let's have all of this stuff," right? Like if you start witnessing that, know that they're under the influence of manifestation. Know that they are being influenced by that which is around them, that which they are seeing. They are not, they're just being influenced by those things. It's not real. Like they're just no, it's kind of like that 2-year-old. Like the 2-year-old still being influenced by being a 2-year-old, right? Like they gotta know it's like, yes, they're hiding behind the wall and they're gonna jump out when I get into the hallway, and okay, I know that, and I'm gonna be like, like, because they don't get it, right? They don't understand time and space. They don't understand that where they are. They don't understand all of these things, and and you can play along. But to witness someone act or speak to gain position, you don't want to play along with them. You don't want to play along. See, we played along with that Trump guy for so long that we all just ended up playing his game. And now, like he has to face that. But then everybody else is still playing the game and they're all smug going, "See, we won the game." And it's like, oh, like I just ran across a brief little thing this morning on the YouTube, where it was like there's this guy who's just smug talking about how he's gonna have a horrible life now, and it's like, do you really have to weaponize everything? Do you really have to be like, look at how great we? It's like you're not innocent in this. You played along, and now you're smug because there's a man getting destroyed, and it's like. This isn't the way we want to be, right? We want to be able to love people and not have to play along in the first place. That way they can get help and they can get love and they can spread their own love. And they can see that, like, hate and separation are not the ways forward. This is like Trump is like the ultimate sort of, but me. But what about me? Yes, we're all one. But what about me? I mean, I'm not even sure if he would say yes, we're all one. But to witness one act or speak to gain position, that is Trump, right? Like, know that they're under the influence of manifestation. Like, and this helps us when we know that they're under the influence of the manifestation. When we know that they're addicted to the manifestation, we can offer them some peace. We can offer them some just, oh, that's a shame. You know, that's sad. It's sad that you're allowing your life to be so affected by the manifestation that you're you're lost. Right? You're lost in it. It says here, be like Tao, do not abandon them. For knowing Tao is learned by example, right? They haven't had the example. They haven't seen what it's like to live by Tao. They haven't witnessed it. They haven't heard it. Or they haven't heard it enough and they don't believe it or whatever. They're out there going, yes, we're all one, but what about me? Right? So they don't have the experience yet. Be like Tao. Don't abandon them. Don't let them do what they're going to do. Don't play along, but also keep them close. Like, make sure that you know that you're not here to abandon them. And I think that's what's happening to Trump right now. So many people are abandoning him. Because they played along. Well, they played along in a game that they weren't in control of. Now they're all kind of going to go to jail and all these other things, and he's getting abandoned because none of them were themselves. They were all just swayed and under the influence of manifestation. How unfortunate. Therefore, when a new leader takes office, now this is I didn't know how to write this. This is the best way for me to write it. When a new leader takes office, when a new manager comes in, when somebody comes in, when there is a time that you can impress somebody, when there is focus somewhere, don't offer words, gifts, or actions. This is all about knowing by example. This is about learning by example. So if you can lead by example. So if there's a new person in your friend group and people are like, oh, this person is the best, this person is the greatest, and all their attention is there, lead to help that person learn Tao, not through gifts or words or actions. And the reason is that more attention will be given towards that, and then you'll be able to be an example. And so that's kind of how I see where this is going, where it's just like, when a new leader takes office, don't offer words, gifts, or actions. Offer instead to teach the Tao. Why? Because knowing Tao is learned by example. Dr. Rao's going to come up. Why is Tao so universally loved? Because if you acknowledge it or not, Tao is your treasure. Always in harmony, every mistake forgiven. Dr. Rao, how are you?
Hi, Martin. I got uh, my perspective of looking at this, what you're talking about, Trump and people leaving him and all that. Um, See, it's the same phenomena. Eckhart Tolle talked about it one time, quoting German Hitler. What
Yeah.
happened at the time? So, we always talk about Brahman or Tao or that universal existence, right?
Yeah.
Now, apart from that, is this personality or thinking that we are the ego personality and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the mistake that people make is, yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
it's a collective ego, collective this thing. Like they've thought, you remember the fervor that you see, we are not born at the time, but then the fervor with which they supported uh, Hitler.
Yeah.
And his thing was because basically they allowed that personal ego dominate in a collective sense. They are all together and all that. And
Yes, absolutely.
And that's a fundamental mistake even people make it now.
Yes.
They are not in doubt.
No, no, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not even being in the Tao. It's realizing that we are the Tao first, and then this intellect, everything comes up later. That's
right,
supposed to be used for our common, good and striving for the bodies and all that, but not to identify and separate from the Tao completely.
right. And I think the more you separate, the more you
Yeah,
and it's not even separating. I don't think it's separating because it's always there. It's always within you, but you cover it up
yeah,
with your intellect. You cover
yeah,
it up with your desire to have
yeah,
your body. You cover it up to have
exactly.
possess. You cover it up to possess.
Yeah,
And
and
add
the,
go on.
when I say separating base, this wheel, this avarana, they call it in Sanskrit, is kind of wheels over the Brahman. But we kind of identify with the wheel and think that is it, and then the sight of the Brahman completely lost.
Right.
So you kind of take a journey into the outwardly intellect, outwardly personality, ego, and all that. Outwardly from what? From the inner real being of the Tao, of the
Yeah.
Brahman. You know
Yeah.
that. I mean, you are already that. You don't have to
Of
become.
course.
You don't have an example. But the thing is, you get to really realize and go home.
Yes.
You know,
And
we are.
that's what's beautiful about this verse, where it's like, like Tao benefits all things. It's a treasure for those who know and an opportunity for those who don't.
It is only thing you know. That's it.
That's it.
And then that's very richening and all that. You see what it is? It doesn't give you the separate identity as your German, American, or everything
Right.
like that. And that was dividing us. Eckhart Tolle pointed this out. You see, because that Rene Descartes, he said, "I think, therefore I am," and he was talking about existential issues. But the
Mm-hmm,
thing
mm-hmm.
was, I exist, therefore I think.
Yes.
I as Brahman or what is exist. That is the existence is itself Brahman, not okay, something
That's right.
separate. I exist and then therefore I think. But the
Right.
problem is we forgot that existence, which is the Tao and Brahman, and that's it. The different terms are used, but the same thing,
Of course.
Yeah, it is exist. I
Because
exist.
truth doesn't need a name. It
Yeah, yeah.
just like
No, actually, we do it injustice to name it, but then we know, we feel it what it is. But then words cannot really describe that. Got to
right.
feel it. Yesterday, they were talking about outtuition, intuition. But they were talking about not that they did something wrong. I'm just telling you for the point's sake.
Yeah. Hmm.
Where I'm always trying to improve everybody's understanding of this. That is the purpose. It's not a personal aggrandizement. There was no personal there. It is the truth, right? Uh, if you are talking intellect only, outward and inward, you missed it.
Yeah. It's
Outward
so good. It's so
Out,
good.
outward intellect is fine, no problem. We can make things easier for the life, and then we try to. But then I think we made a mess of it too because the way we messed up the existence because of the climate changes we did with our activity, human activity. So I don't know whether we really use the intellect properly either.
Right.
But
No.
then intuition is something like a more like a your instinctness, your feeling, and your inward really uh, feeling it out. You know that it is there, and then if you talk too much, if you say too much, then you missed it. But
Hmm.
if you feel it and instinctively realize it and stay in that, that's the thing people cannot do because they're always pulled by the intellect and they identify themselves as separate, their nationality, their other things, and that's why these wars are happening. Akatuli brought it beautifully. He said,
Yeah.
Yeah, because you are not in the present, you are not in the consciousness, you are not in the being, you let the intellect go and separate you, and that's why the ego forms, and then it separates from us, the collective ego. And because of this misidentification who we are, 140 million people died in 20th century, I believe. I think even now the people are dying because of that. The
Oh
same
yeah.
phenomena with the Trump. You see, it's not only him, but these
No,
people
no, no, no. It is
identified like a white supremacy. What is this? This is like a tribalism. It is going, but then the thing is, it keeps on repeating. That means
that's right.
history did not teach people; they
That's
did not
right.
from it, and that's a real tragedy because, uh, what it is. Um, the this one particular point, first existence and then the thought, is difficult for people to understand because they can't grasp what is that existence. See, Sat Chit Anand, we say, right? Sat is what is. We all want to exist, and that is the existence, life, right? And Chit is we want to know, we want to understand, and all that. So that is all one there. Once you are established in that reality, which is we call Brahman or Tao, and all that, that reality is not perceived by your senses. That is the difference between the modern and ancient is they did not depend upon external senses and all that. But that's the reality for modern people.
Yeah,
Whereas ancients, it is beyond those senses, beyond that mind that's going out. Turn it inward. Pratyahara is turning the senses away from the objects towards you and bring them back so that you don't have any food from the senses going in, right? And then you are in that existence that is not dependent on the senses and perceived not by intellect, again going out, but turned inward intuition. Intuition is not part of the intellect. That's the mistake. So
right.
what making yesterday mistake was thinking in intellect can go in and out, and then that's the same thing. It's not. You are separated. See, this is what happened. Intellect turned inward, saying that we are that intellectual identification of the ego or nationalism, whatever it is in the German. And now you see, they are not talking about all the people coming together. They're talking about, oh, no, no, everybody else is different. We are different. So we want to make life for ourselves. That is basically dividing people. That's what
Yeah,
he did. And he's taking away everybody from everywhere. And see, even the climate change, they wanted to give 80 billion. That was very difficult at the time. They did not to give it even now. But then they were able to come to some kind of, okay, we have to do a little bit. And then we are not doing it, and the whole world is suffering. So this
that's right.
division is not something figment of imagination or something that is light less. It's not about improving our personal life. This is about life on earth.
Yeah,
You
and
see, the scale I look at things is because it's not about personal enlightenment, personal evolvement,
no,
personal stress reduction. None of it. It's more about life as we know it is going to end because of this identification with the wrong thing.
that's
But
right.
actually, there was a movie, I don't know if you saw it or not. It's about. Ramana Maharshi, I think, yeah, Gnani. If you get hold of it, see that movie,
What's it called?
Gnani, Gnani. So it's a very nice movie made, and that he talks about, uh, this particular aspect of it.
Hmm.
What is reality for the Westerns, and what is reality for the ancients,
Yeah,
right? Reality for Westerns is what we have experienced with the senses, what our intellect explores it. That's physical reality. But then there is a subtle reality, there is this consciousness beyond the senses and beyond the. So if you let the senses go out, intellect go out, you can never be in the Brahman, which is you. You don't have to measure for it. It is there.
Right.
But then we kind of cloud it up with a lot of intellectual activities and trying. See, I'm mentioning this not for anything, but when I see that how far away they are, and they are continuing that, claiming that we are the leaders, we want to tell everybody to do this, uh, and then they're separating us from the reality or real reality. So
Yes.
being in touch with the reality is like understanding this how ego separates us and not go that way. But that's a Herculean task because 99% people are doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, most I think the manifestation has influenced us pretty heavily, and I think
Oh, big time. But then the
yeah,
manifestation because of this error.
yeah, 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 and
Not the first thing, it's the error. First thing is Brahman there, that is the existence. But we kind of unidentified with the error because rather than the reality, you know.
yes, yeah, no, yeah, and that's why I keep coming back, and it's like this is where it's just like
Yeah,
quietly
yeah.
existing, so
It kept
important.
on. Today somebody sent me a video way back. Um, there was a big reception to the what is that Starbucks coffee shop.
No, yeah,
It came to India. There was the biggest rush and all that. Then I thought, I don't drink coffee. What's the big deal about it? Why it is? I was talking about that to somebody else. Then I was having a discussion with my wife too, because I don't drink coffee in the morning at all. So, does it need? No. Why I don't drink is it is not needed for me, first of all. Another thing is, it's not in the yogic lifestyle. You don't want to depress the activating the system like awareness, or you don't want to cloud it. Why do you have to take coffee and then get up and then again work up your awareness and then put it down and then take coffee again? So not just the coffee, you take the wines and all those things that interfere with our mind and awareness are no in, because you don't do it because it's something like a principle and all that. You don't need it. It's natural. Being natural is I get up in the morning, I'm completely awake, because I
yeah,
don't have any materials influencing my mastish, the mind. So
yeah.
I sleep very quiet. So then they isolating the ancient Indian culture, Indian education systems, Indian all of them, right? And then Britishers, when they came, they were showing this man Macaulay, I believe. He wrote there also. What we want is Indians in appearance, in color, and all that, but they are Britishers in taste, opinions, and all of these things and all that. So they kind of under.
Dr. Ryu just dropped off. I do have Julie in line. Why don't you come back up and we'll wrap that up, and then we'll yeah, and then we'll get to Julie really quick. Thank you so much. This is beautiful.
This is a current issue in the sense because the ancients looked toward the conscious being as the reality and then based all the education and everything there. Whereas this Macaulay, he thought only coming to the personality, ego, and all that. Even now, they suffer from that. Okay,
Yeah.
and then they want to somebody to be subjugative to the king, to the subjects to the king. That's what they did to the America. So that's why they had to break up and come here and establish a new country because oppressive. Basically, it's not just the Indians; they did it with everybody. But
Mm-hmm.
this is a fundamental shift humanity took, where the reality is something, they're assuming the reality is something else. And this is a current problem, even now. That's why I would say all that lifestyle these people glorify, not just in one country, in modern versus ancient, Western versus Eastern. But Eastern lost it too. Why Indians are so fascinated with Western culture? That was what they are doing, looking at. and they were tracing what happened and all that, and they wrote Macaulay's thing, and they say Macaulay is succeeding because he's turning us into this modern Indians, most suffering people and all. My point is this current lifestyle, we kind of make it a big deal, like a sensorial based or sensory indulgence or external indulgence and separativeness is not working for us in any way, individual, country, or worldwide. We are making world much less safe, much less enjoyable, and we are depleting the Earth's biggest resources, and then probably we maybe not be here; it will be extinguished completely too. We are coming to that stage. Why? Because of this misidentification of the reality. You
Yeah,
see what I mean?
separation,
I'm not,
separation.
yeah, I'm not saying only one culture.
No,
Beyond,
no. Yeah.
beyond that, because that was stupid to me for to say we are Indians, we are Chinese anymore. Because
No, yeah, no. That's like we are
I
making
mean,
choices that are separating
yeah, we are
first.
one human being on one earth, as far as I'm concerned. Even now people say, "Oh, you are Indian, you're bringing us that." You're stupid. You can't see through what I'm. That's why you identify yourself with something else. You think you are superior that way, and then you want to look down somebody. But if you look at it, I am free. You are not free from the feeling. That's how I look at it. And that's unfortunate because it's not even condemning them, John. It's more
No.
pointing to a state where we are dividing ourselves unnecessarily. You know,
Yes, dividing,
so,
separating ourselves,
like
separating
how
people.
many times I told you, Martin? Oh, Martin, you are American. I am Indian. No, I never identify like that. I said, Martin, my friend, I am your friend. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah, why do I have to identify? Because I'm not in that egoic personality which identifies like that.
Right.
I am what I am,
Yeah.
Brahman, existence, consciousness, and bliss.
Oh.
And that is important for us now. That's why I'm saying it's not like some ulterior something that we as human beings to work on this earth to make it not only stress free out there, stress free inside. We got to really identify this division we made by mistaken reality. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you are bringing that out every day because that means reality is this, not the other way.
Right. Yeah.
That's why this need to be told. I'm kind of very independent. That's why I say what I think because I'm not independent. I'm not dependent on anybody appreciating me or telling. That's why I told people also, you are all trying to rake up this ego. I think one day Cecil was doing this. What is this program that she does?
Kudos.
Kudos, yeah. I pointed this to her, nice, not killing her work, but she is a good human being. She's a very nice, compassionate, kind person. I know her. But what she's doing ultimately is this without knowing, nurturing that egoic personality and all of that, but not really driving them towards this, away from that, away towards the Brahma. You get
Yeah.
it? What I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
She's not the only one. I'm just, she's a good person. I know, I like her very much. But what I'm saying is, are they aware of this division that is about to it? Not only her, even the so-called leaders, they are trying to do that all the time. I don't know who made them leader. They describe themselves leader. What leader? Macaulay is a leader. He drove humanity to the lot of suffering this way. Who you? Why? How do you appoint yourself as a leader? When
That's
you don't
right.
know yourself, you are blind to the reality. How can you be the leader? I'm not going to accept anybody leader. I don't have to be leader to anybody, or I don't have to be leading anybody or telling people, but trying to be in the Brahman and then really pointing her out. Look at the beauty of it. Look at inclusiveness of it. Look at the lack of ego, lack of all that hurt and all that, because you're away from that dichotomy of attraction and raga dvesha they call about. So fundamental thing is Brahman Tao is the reality,
Hmm.
and building this egoic structure is avarana. That is wheeling over. It's like a wheel, like a curtain. And then you're completely putting the curtain, so iron curtain, you can't even be there. You see, that's why I'm telling the social audio also is like a likes and comments, how many
Mm.
people seen it. What is it doing? It is making them dopamine
Yeah,
dependent.
dependent. Yeah,
Right? We know about all that, but then still, what is the behavior? Away from Brahman towards the egoic personality, which is not the reality, which is what came to us. Everything cultural, anywhere you see, you go to India, you go to anywhere, very few people talk about this reality and staying in the reality. But if we know what it is, it's blissful. It is all knowing. And it is the existential thing that will be there forever.
that's right. And it's always been there.
Yeah. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna bring on Julie, and we're gonna chat a little bit more about the Dow. You know, as we were talking about leaders, it's funny. I opened up number 17 here in the Dow, and Julie, how are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm good. I was going to say, I was taught pretty much the same. I was enjoying what Dr. Rao was saying.
Yeah,
A lovely old lady I used to look after. She said to me one day, I'd just given her a glass of mineral water or something like that. And I said, cheers to her. Cheers. And she said, no, she said, this is what I do. She said, we put our glasses at equal height. But first, I raise mine above yours. And I say, never above you, never below you. And then we cheers. We say, always with you. And that's what Dr. Rao's talking about.
yeah,
That's exactly what it's always with you.
that's
With,
right.
with being the word is great word. It's a good word.
Yeah. And that, like if we could do that to everybody on the planet, no matter if we like their politics or if we like their race or if we like, it's not like if we like something, then we're stuck in the ego.
Yes.
Now we can recognize, do I like that I'm doing this activity in my life? And that's one thing. But when we start talking about like, I like this person, I like this activity they're doing, what if I'm looking outside of myself and stressed over something or don't like something? Well, then that's my ego getting in the way. It's like anybody is, you know, free to do whatever it is they want, no matter how much we like or don't like it. But I'm all
Absolutely.
still always with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
That's the key.
I had this just need. So if you'll bear with me, I'm gonna read 17 because he was talking about what are these leaders? Who are these leaders? And I'm gonna read number 17
Please do.
of the Tao, which states, "In the time of the great masters, there were no leaders. Then those whom the people loved led the way. After having created the position, the people feared their leaders. Then they despised them. Having created leaders, their faith in Tao was diminished. Having become a leader, his trust in the people was diminished. When there are great masters, there are no leaders. She works day and night and says nothing about it. Then, when the work is done, the people say, amazing, we did it all by ourselves." Now, this is, like here we are. And if we look at these first two lines, in the time of the great masters, there were no leaders. Then those whom the people loved led the way. And I think that's the thing. Like when we don't feel loved, we feel like, well, if we're a leader, then people love us. And so we're going to call ourselves leaders. We're thought leaders. We're leaders.
Gurus.
We're a leader because we don't know enough love with ourselves. So we want to create this title which gives us some validation that we're being loved. And that's kind of what I was thinking when Dr. Rao was talking about who made you a leader. It's just like, well they did because they're hurting because they don't know love, and they think like that if they're a leader, that means the people love them.
It gives them value.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like there's nothing to being a leader. There's nothing in it for you. You
No.
know, like I know a lot of people like to think that I want to be a leader. I want to be a leader, but it's like no, just be, damn it. Like it's good enough. So, okay, so I wanted to read that because Dr. Rao was talking about leaders and other things like that. I think that, like we all want to be leaders, but it's like, for what? For
Yeah, but
what?
really, what a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, fuck that noise. Like, let's just get on with it.
Yeah, that's hard work. I don't want to be. I don't want
That's
hard
right.
work.
I don't want to be your leader. Just go
Yeah,
do what you do, man. I'm gonna
go
leave it
do what you
alone.
do. Chat to me. Let's
Yeah,
do this.
yeah.
Let's
That's
be
all right.
together on this. Not like push me out in front. No, tar.
That's right. Shit ain't my responsibility. Fuck. So do you have a number for me today?
I do. I talked to Brad shortly before coming on, and we've chosen the number, both me and Brad, 19.
19.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. So 19. I'm gonna read you my because I'm reading my translations if I can because
Yes,
I got
please.
62 done. So I'm gonna read you my translation
Yes, please.
and I entitle this "Real Education." Don't
Mm.
aspire to be holy or smart. You will finally find happiness. Don't inquire about morality or justice. You will finally be perfect. Don't create things or want to profit. You will finally be secure. If all that fails to inspire you, stay as humble and simple as possible, and at least you won't be selfish.
Lovely. I like that. I love the word humble and I love the word simple.
Yeah,
I like those two words because if you are both of those things, people will see you.
yeah,
People will see you. You will see yourself.
yeah.
And that's great.
And this whole piece starts with don't aspire to be holy or smart, and you will finally find happiness.
Yeah. We know nothing
Damn right.
and we will always know nothing.
That's right. And it's not about going and trying to collect more knowing, because the more you know, the less like and I know people have learned this. It's just like I learned that the more I learn, the less I know. It's like,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So just be here. Just be in this moment, which doesn't have to have a definition, doesn't have to have a knowing.
It doesn't have to have a meaning.
Right. It's
It
just here.
doesn't
It's
have to
just this
have a
moment.
purpose.
That's right.
Yeah.
And like this idea of being holy or smart, being able to be a leader, or like, oh, I gotta be better than other people, or I gotta get more attention, or I gotta do like work on my marketing or whatever, all of that, like holy or smart or crafty or whatever. It's like if you can just drop all of that.
Chuck your measuring stick away.
Yeah, there's nothing to measure. Here you are now. And
Yes.
like this idea of measuring everything, that starts when we're kids. Oh, how much have you grown? Who
Hmm.
does it matter how much I've grown? Like
Absolutely.
how does that matter? I mean, like obviously how big I am doesn't matter, and like when it comes to rugby, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It
But the
doesn't it
thing,
doesn't
it is what it is. Is I function at this height now.
Yeah, I
I've
function this out.
got
And I
used
didn't
to this.
And the only thing that I'm getting by knowing it is like, oh, a kiss on the forehead. Now I can look at how much I've grown. Well, that's only how much you've grown physically.
Mm.
How much have you grown in other ways? Or how much have you shrunk? Maybe that's a thing. Like when we start to measure kids when they grow, we don't let them know, hey, you can shrink. You can shrink yourself to challenges, and you can make yourself less as well. And so maybe there's so many places. I mean, I know so many people. I mean, I used to even be someone who would, like look back to see how far you've come. And although, yes, there is some benefit there just to be able to like feel good about yourself, that's probably the only benefit there is because you're
Mm.
here now. So who cares how far you've come?
Absolutely.
Unless you're looking to get credit, unless you're looking to get graded by it. Look how far I've come.
Yeah.
Measuring is just unless it's part of your identity. Measuring doesn't matter. And if it is part of your identity, maybe you should question that.
Yeah.
You should question, like, why is that part of your identity? What is that? Is that benefiting you as much as you think it is?
This is something I had to have a really good look at, because I discovered that I was a measurer,
Yeah.
and I measured myself all of
Hmm.
the time, not just my height, but I measured myself emotionally, physically, mentally. I measured, and then I measured myself. I measured myself against others.
Hmm.
I measured so much stuff, and I really had to do something about it
Yeah.
because it was making me shrink.
Damn right.
It was, mm. So
Don't
yeah,
inquire about morality or justice, and you will finally be perfect. Once again, that's measuring.
yes,
How good are you? How far are you along? Do you have a house by the time you're 40? Do you have this? Do you have that? Do you get, like, are you going to have what you have now when you are, in 10 years or whatever? Like, and are you good enough?
yeah, that was a big one of mine.
And, like that also kind of like, when we look at the idea of justice, when we look at the idea of like being just, and we look at like, how do we look down on people that are not? And
Mm,
do we measure them by us because we don't want to be seen as faulty?
mm, absolutely.
And then, like being perfect means just loving some people, loving yourself, loving others.
Being perfect is looking at yourself like me, Julie, and saying, "I'm Julie.
That's right.
Woohoo!"
That's right. That's it. That's perfect. Like you're perfect right here. Now if you wake up and you say, I'm Julie and I'm not enough. Well, you've just created a measuring
Yeah.
unit that is going to point out things that you are currently moving towards and maybe have not yet acquired.
Mm,
Even if that's just an understanding that you're Julie.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't create things or want to profit. You will finally be secure. Now, I don't know if I'm happy with that line, but I do understand what I'm trying to get at. It's like, don't create things in order to want to profit.
Absolutely.
Like go ahead and profit, but like if you live your life in order to profit, then that's the whole, it's me. It's about me. But if you create things, whatever that is, whether that's this conversation or if it is like a electric bicycle or whatever, it's like don't set yourself out. Like, I'm not writing the Tao to profit. I'm writing the Tao to benefit.
Yes.
To benefit everybody. And if I can pay my bills with that, that'd be great.
That would
Like,
be wonderful
that'd be
because
wonderful.
it is something you enjoy.
Right.
So
But I'm
that's
not
good.
creating it to profit. I didn't say, what the market needs. Another translation of the Tao.
I get
I'm
you
not going out of
totally.
my
I
way to
get you
create
totally.
things in order to
It's
profit.
like
Like, I'm just
it's
creating it.
like this. I don't
Did I
know if
lose
I've
you?
lost my signal or whether you've
No, I'm
lost
here. We're
yours.
here. No, 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 we're here. We're here. What's up? Are you with me? I can hear you. Can you hear me? Oh, I think that maybe, I don't know, something. I can hear you though. All right. So I'm going to just move on and read this last line. If all of that fails to inspire you, stay as humble and simple as possible, and at least you won't be selfish. And so that whole last part is like, look, if you want to be holy or smart, if you want to be moral or just, if you want to profit, all of that's fine. But when you're doing it, just stay humble.
Um,
Do you got me? Are you no? Just stay as humble
I'm
or
back now. I
simple
can
as.
hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you. You got me? Are you
Yes,
back? Okay, good.
I am.
All right.
Carry
Well,
on.
I am going to read. I think there's a little bit of a delay, so I'm going to read and then I'll say go ahead when I'm done reading this. It's just the last couple lines. If all that fails to inspire you, stay as humble and simple as possible, and at least you won't be selfish. Thoughts?
I aspire to that every day. That is where I'd like to be every day.
Yeah.
Humble, peaceful, unexpectant, and going with the flow. That's where I'd
Mm,
like to be, and it's a peaceful, as Dr. Rao would say, blissful place
yeah.
to be at. Yes.
Yeah, and if you can, like if it's too much to be holy or smart, if it's too much to ask to not do those things, if it's too much to ask to not be moral or just, if it's too much to ask to not create things that are just meant for profit, if all of that fails, just stay humble and simple, and at least you won't be selfish.
Yeah. Just exist and enjoy that.
Yeah, no matter
Thank
what. Julie, I love you.
Love you loads. Thank you so much. Take
Absolutely.
care.
I'm so glad you guys picked 19 together. Such a beautiful, beautiful verse. And this is such a big deal, right? When we can let go of aspiring to be holy or smart, when we can let go of morality and justice, when we can let go of wanting to create things simply to profit, when we can let go of that, then that's great. And you can just be, and you don't have to measure yourself against anybody. But when and Julie is Julie, just like myself and Dr. Rao, and so many people are in a place where we can, we can do that to an extent. But then we're also there's stretches where we can't. We might not be able to. You know what? I do want to be smart. Damn it. Well, even though I want to be smart, there's nothing wrong with that. I just have to be simple and humble. This was okay. Let's just simplify it. Let's make sure we're staying humble. And even though I want to be smart, even though I want to be just, even though I want to profit or whatever, just keep it simple, keep it humble, and I can move on. And it's not about judgment. It's not about measurement. Thank you so much for joining me for Tao of the Day. This is Martin John. I'm your host. We can come on. I come on here. I ask you to pick a number between 1 and 81 because there are 81 verses in the Tao. And if you are interested in connecting with me, you can do so through Instagram or my website. Links are in my profile. I love presenting the Tao. I am writing a version of the Tao, and this Tao of the Day will eventually be a day of the Tao where I do a full day of reading through my translation, and yeah, I'm gonna probably be doing some other things with my version of the Tao, but definitely stay in touch. Ask me questions on the Ask Anything. Go ahead and reach out to me. Here, if I'm not following you, you can find me on Instagram at Martin John, as I mentioned earlier. Yeah, so this is what I'm working on right now. So if you have any questions or thoughts or whatever, I am around. Thank you so much for joining me for Tao of the Day. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.